Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I am continuing the previous topic, that is the photoelectric effect. So here you can see in the last video we had done till here photoelectric current, okay, and now I told you to I will explain what the explanation given by the Einstein about the photoelectric effect, because let me recap the previous things. Okay, so this was the photoelectric effect, okay, and what according to the classical theory what was expected I had written down here, and now what were the observations were quite different from the expectations from the classical theory, and this leads to the Einstein to give his explanation, and today we will be going to deal with the explanation part. Okay, so I had done till photoelectric current. All right, okay, so now the explanation given by the Einstein in the year 1905. So Einstein used the Planck's hypothesis. What was the Planck's hypothesis? Planck's given his hypothesis when he was solving the black body radiation experiment. He was the only one who got the idea about the quantization of the waves. Okay, quantization of the waves, that means in the simple formula we write it E equals to NH nu, where nu is equals to frequency of the light and E is the energy of the light. Alright, okay, so now let's see what the Einstein has given out his explanation. So he has used the Planck's hypothesis, okay, and he said that only one photon, when you will incident a light, so light actually composed of photons. Alright, so each single photon will emit only a single electron. This was the explanation given by Einstein. What? Let me repeat it again, that each photon will emit a single electron. That means one photon will emit one electron. Alright, and the second thing that he has given, that the energy of each photon equals to h nu, where h equals to Planck's constant and nu equals to frequency of light. Here we had seen that there is a direct relation of the frequency of the light with the energy of the light. Okay, now, and from the second explanation part, that the energy of the photon equals to h nu, he had come up with the energy of the incident photon equals to work function of the metal plus kinetic energy of electron. That means whatever the amount of energy you are supplying as to the in the form of light, it will eject the electron. That is the work function. Work function is the minimum amount of energy which the electron must possess so that the electron will eject out. Okay, so this is the work function of the metal, and the extra amount of energy, whatever the extra amount of energy of the light which you are incidenting over the metal surface, that extra amount of energy will come up as the kinetic energy of electron. Okay, what? Let me repeat it again, that whatever the amount of energy that you are incidenting in the form of light, okay, you are incidenting at actually a light which is actually having some energy which should be greater than the threshold energy. Okay, and the amount which is greater than the threshold energy, that extra amount will come out in the form of kinetic energy of an electron. Okay, so in the short way we can write E equals to W is the work function plus kinetic energy. Okay, so here from the little depiction in the space I had given here, that a light of E energy having new frequency is incidenting over the metal surface, and electron, which is actually bounded with the nucleus, will get sufficient amount of energy that is E naught, or say sufficient amount of frequency, that is nu naught, and then it will emit out with kinetic energy. Okay, so now let put the values so that we can come up with our desired expression, which we can apply over the questions. Okay, so E equals to, we know, h nu, and W that is the work function, we representing it by h nu naught. H is the Planck's constant, it will not change, but nu naught is the we are saying it that it is the minimum frequency of light. Light must possess to eject out the electron. Okay, what I am saying, that nu naught is the minimum frequency which the light must possess to eject out the electron. Okay, and plus kinetic energy, we all know that is the half mv square. Okay, so here I had already written down what the terms are given here. Okay, that like nu naught, W, and like this, and or we can also write h nu equals to h nu naught plus kinetic energy, and kinetic energy will equals to h nu minus h nu naught. Okay, so this expression I recommend you to please mug it up. Okay, why? Because this will be going to use in every of the questions which is directly or indirectly related with the concept of the photoelectric effect. Okay, and yeah, believe me, many of the questions in the net has been asked from the photoelectric effect. So it is from the entrance point of view, it is also very, very important. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so here you see what the experimental data we had obtained. I had depicted it in the graphical form. It is actually the graphical form. So in the y direction I had represented the kinetic energy, and in the x direction it is the frequency. Alright, okay, so now we have the equation kinetic energy equals to h nu minus h nu naught. Kinetic energy equals to h nu minus h nu naught. So compare it with y equals to mx plus c. Y equals to mx plus c. Okay, so the c would be minus h nu naught. C, the constant, would be minus h nu naught, and if we plot kinetic energy versus frequency, that is y versus x, so m that is slope would be h. So what is written here? M, that is slope, is h, and this straight line, this would be the straight line with having a negative h nu naught, that is actually the constant. Okay, that is the actual, it will give you h nu naught. Alright, and this point where the line had started, it is actually the nu naught. It is actually the nu naught, that this much frequency is required so that electron will eject out, and if the frequency from the nu naught would be greater than, if found to be greater than nu naught, then it will having some kinetic energy. Okay, what the theoretical data what we had studied are continuously proving this graph. Okay, so this is nu naught, and this negative slope has no meaning, that's why we had plotted in a dashed line. Okay, and this y intercept will give you my h nu naught, that is actually the constant. Okay. Now one more interesting thing, that with this graph, you know that the slope of this graph is h, that is Planck's constant. Okay, so what is interesting, that from the graph what the value of h we got, that is the because we had h value from the Planck's, but it was not it was not experimental, it was theoretical, more of theoretical. So experimental data has been obtained by the Einstein, and what is the amazing thing here, that what the value of the Planck's constant that Einstein obtained from this graph, from this experiment, completely matches with the old one which was given by the Planck's in his theory. Okay, so there is an amazing thing, what the theoretical prediction of the Planck's about this quantization of the energy, or say the photons, or the basically energy, is what the h value given by the Planck's completely matches with the experimental value. Okay, now one more thing that you know very well, that if the metal surface is like having a very high ionization energy, try to understand. If for example there is a potassium metal and there is a sodium metal, take it as an example. Okay, if there is a sodium metal and in the other case there is a potassium metal, okay, you know that electron can be withdrawn more easily from the potassium. You know very well how, because of the ionization energy concept, that potassium has less ionization energy, because you know that in the first group, that moving from top to down, the ionization energy decreases. The ionization energy decreases, and because of which here I am saying that potassium will be having less ionization energy than sodium. That means we can say that for the metal having less ionization energy will require less energy from the outside. Okay, this is very clear that it requires very less amount of energy from the outside to eject out the electron. Okay, so here I can say that this nu naught, that is the threshold frequency of the metal, is actually proportional to the ionization energy of the metal. Okay, that more the ionization energy of the metal, more would be the threshold frequency. That means more amount of energy is required to eject out the electron. That is actually the concept. And now we will be doing some question. So let the first question what is being shown to you. You can see in your screen there is a graph. Okay, there is a graph and 3 lines are being shown to you, A, B, C. Okay, and this is actually the data, or say experiment in the 3 metal surfaces. Okay, 3 experiment A, B, C, where we had used 3 metal surfaces, and this nu naught one is the threshold frequency required for first metal, or a metal A, to eject out the electron. Similarly, for metal B, nu naught 2 is the threshold frequency which is comparatively higher than the metal A to eject out the electron. Similarly, for the metal C, nu naught 3 is the threshold energy which is much higher than A and B to eject out the electron. Okay, So what we are seeing, that as the frequency is increasing, we had studied that ionization energy is actually proportional to the frequency. So we can say that from left to right, the ionization energy is increasing. And if we will be given some metal like sodium, potassium and cesium in the question, we have given the sodium, potassium and cesium, and has been asked that which line, A or B or C, depicts sodium or say potassium or say cesium. Alright, okay, so see what I said, that from left to right the ionization energy is increasing, and we know that from sodium, potassium and cesium ionization energy decreases. So reverse would be true. That moving from bottom to top the ionization energy increases. So our answers would be, tell me what would be the answers. That C, line C would depict of sodium. Why? Because it has the highest ionization energy if we compare it with potassium and cesium. If we compare it with potassium and cesium, sodium has the highest ionization energy, and then come to potassium, like we will say that B metal would be potassium, because potassium is in the given data potassium is the second metal having highest energy, and the metal A would be cesium having lowest ionization energy. Okay, so I hope this thing is now clear to you. Okay, now let's do one more thing, and I think that's all for today. Guys, that's all for today. Okay, so I will start the stopping potential, and I will end up the concept of the photoelectric effect in the next video. Okay, and then we will do some other things. Okay, so see you, have a good day, bye bye.